Hello, I'm Stormwind Studios instructor and Cybex author William Panic. Thank you for joining us today for Windows 11 First Look. It's great to see so many people out here today. It's great to see everybody talking about the chat and where they're all from, and it's great to see so many people that have sat through a lot of my classes with me. So welcome to everybody. If this is your first chance to actually sit through a Stormwinds presentation, welcome, and I hope you enjoy it. So today we are going to be talking about Windows 11. And we're going to give you a brief overview of some of the things that Windows 11 comes with, some of the things that they've changed around, and even some of the problems that we're already seeing. So we're going to basically dive in and talk about the wonderful world of Windows 11. But before we do that, let me give you a little bit of an introduction for everyone who is brand new. As I said, I am Stormwind Studios instructor and Cybex author William Panic, and this is Windows 11 First Look. Now, for anyone who is coming into this class and has never sat through any of my classes or sat through any of my webinars, I am a Microsoft certified trainer. I have been certified ever since NT 351 many years ago. So, and I am still certified all the way up through the most recent MCSA and MCSE 2016. I have been training for almost 25 years. I'm getting close to hit my 25-year training mark. But during that time, I worked as a IT member, as an IT admin, and as an IT director. And I was an IT director for many years before coming on here with Stormwinds. So when I talk about a lot of topics, Microsoft, I bring a lot of it from the actual IT director side because it's important not only to understand how these things work, but how they're going to work for you in a corporate environment. I am also a 5-time Microsoft Worldwide MVP winner. This is an award that Microsoft gives out to people who excel in certain parts of the industry, and mine have all been in networking and Microsoft. So, because that's their award. So that's why. So I have won that 5 times over the years. And I am also the same William Panic that has written almost 50 Microsoft Cybex books. So if you've read a Cybex study guide in the last 20 years, there's a good possibility that you have probably read one of my books. So I come at things a little different. I kind of come at things, listen, we're not instructors, we're not students, we're all just peers. And I'm just here to help share the knowledge that I have to hopefully help you out and make your network better and also get you certified. And obviously, the one thing we are now looking at is Windows 11. Now, the funny thing is, a lot of you probably know this also. When Microsoft put out Windows 10, they made an announcement that Windows 10 would be the last client operating system and that they would just do new versions. Well, we obviously know that's not accurate anymore because we have Windows 11. Now, Windows 11, when I first sat through the rollout, I sat through the Microsoft presentation when they first announced and rolled out Windows 11 and they did their big presentation. I was invited to sit through the presentation and I watched it. And the first thing I thought to myself is, wow, they've created a computer system that's a new Xbox. Because really, primarily, that's what they focused on. A lot of it, and it does have a lot to do with gaming. Windows 11 really is kind of a superior gaming system. And I was a little taken back because I was thinking to myself, how are we ever going, and are we going to want to incorporate this, obviously, into a corporate environment? I mean, most of us don't really want to go around and give everybody an Xbox, while they're at work. So how is this really going to work for us? Well, Microsoft, with the release of Windows 11, which was only a few weeks ago, also released corporate versions of Windows 11. And that's where it comes into play for us. Now, there are some pros and there are some cons. And we'll talk about those. But first, probably the most important thing is let's talk about some of the Windows 11 versions that are out there for you to use. All right. So, obviously, the main one that Microsoft rolled out for everyone is Windows 11 Home. And this really is the home computer system of Xbox. All right? It has a lot to do with gaming. If you really want to use Windows 11 Home, that's one of the key features. All right? One of the things that you get, for example, is you get much better graphics, which could help us in the corporate world, but it really is focused on the gaming side of the house. They also have a thing called Game Pass. If you are unfamiliar with this, Game Pass is actually a monthly subscription that you can sign up for with Microsoft, and you can use every single one of their games for free. You just pay a monthly fee, and you can pick and choose which games you want. So if one month you want to play one game, you can. Another month, if you want to play a different Microsoft game, you just install it and keep going. And you still just pay the one monthly fee. So there are some cool advantages to that. If you're a gamer, it's a great thing. For me personally, I'm not a gamer. So, it could be good if you like the game. But if you don't, it's not really that much of a benefit. But then they also started releasing some corporate versions. For example, Windows 11 Pro, Education, and Workstation. Now, these are versions of Windows 11 that are meant for a corporate environment. Same with Windows 11 Enterprise. This truly is the version that a lot of us in a corporate environment will use. This is the Windows 11 Enterprise because it gives you the most tools, gives you the most things that you can do. Windows 11 Education. This version is actually out there for people who belong to colleges, universities. You can get a copy of Windows 11 and you don't have to pay as much for it. All right? If you don't actually have a license, then more or less the license that you buy will be much cheaper. There's also a Windows 11 mixed reality. Now, I have to be 100% honest. I mean, Windows 11 has only been out for a few weeks now, and when I was putting this together and I saw Windows 11 mixed reality, I had no idea what version this was and what it was going to do for us. So I started doing research on Windows 11 mixed reality so I could actually figure it out. Windows 11 mixed reality is an actual feature that you can download from the Windows Store, okay? Or, you can also, get it installed, pre-installed, but you have to particularly buy that version. And what it does for you is it is a version that allows motion sensor, headsets, a technology we call as HoloLens, to be incorporated with Windows 11. So basically, it is a reality gaming system, and it works better with equipment where you want to use virtual reality. All right, with the headsets and So it is, it's a really advanced gaming system that allows you to use the actual, like the headsets, the virtual reality headsets and the microphones and stuff like that. So that's what Windows 11 mixed reality is. Now, what are some of the advantages to Windows 11? Well, one of them, if you're in the home side, obviously, like I said, is using the actual Game Pass. All right, that's an advantage. All right. It also comes with a new Mac-like interface. Now, you may think to yourself, wow, Mac-like interface. Well, believe it or not, that's exactly the way Microsoft put it. So, listen, it's a little cleaner. It's got some not as rough edges, just kind of looks nicer. So it's more like a Mac-like interface. All right. Now, the funny thing about this particular statement is my daughter, who is a college student, was actually watching me when I was first playing with Windows 11. And she said, wow, she said, I like the look of it. And I said, well, why? I said, I'm going to show you the screen in a minute, but the taskbar has moved over. I said, so by looking at this, what do you really think? Why do you? She said, well, it just seems like it's a cooler, like a softer setup for a desktop. And that's obviously what Microsoft was going for. So she kind of picked right up on it and liked it right out of the gate. So it does have kind of a more Mac-like interface. It's a little bit softer around the edges. So people do see that and they actually kind of like the way it looks. You can actually integrate your Android phone and all of your Android apps. It comes with widgets, but we're going to talk about widgets here in a second. All right, but it comes with widgets. Now, widgets have been around since Windows 7 and Vista. All right, but now what you can do is you can actually personalize your taskbar with the things that you want to see, what's important to you. Stocks, sports, news. You really get to customize. It comes with Microsoft Teams integrated. Now, this is no surprise. It comes with integration for Xbox. All right. Gives you better virtual desktop support. And this is one really nice thing and something that we definitely can use in a corporate environment. It makes it a little easier for you to transition from a monitor to a laptop to a overhead system. It gives you better multitasking. Now, let's go back one quick second to this one right here. The widgets. Because talking about the widgets actually has to require that we talk about something. All right? Here's the Windows 11 desktop, and I'm going to show it to you live in a second because I have a fully running Windows 11 Surface Pro, so I'm going to show it to you live. But there's something that you got to know. Something that just happened. People are getting all kinds of errors with Windows 11, including the widgets. Now, why are they actually getting these errors? What's actually going on? Well, Microsoft didn't actually realize something, I guess, but the certificate that they used for many of their features, the snipping tool, widgets, the emoji, expired October 31st. So, as of yesterday, a lot of the Windows 11 features stopped working. And this is an article that actually you can see was put out yesterday because they are getting so many complaints and so many problems. Windows 11 failed to see that their certificate was going to expire on October 31st, and many of the touchscreen features, the widgets, they're not working. So, What does that basically tell us? Well, most of you who are in IT probably know what I'm about to say, because I believe in this. Never install anything into a corporate environment when it first gets released. Let it work its bugs out. Now listen, Windows 11 is going to be the operating system we're all eventually going to have to use. All right, Microsoft has a way to make sure that when they want a new operating system out there, we're all going to have to use it. And we're all going to have to get used to it. But what I would recommend is if you want to play with Windows 11, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But I wouldn't really recommend putting it on a corporate environment yet. Don't worry about doing a quick rollout so that all your Windows 10 professional and enterprise users can go right to Windows 11. Give them a chance to work out some of these little bugs. That also gives us some time. And that's important because that time allows us to learn about Windows 11. Because to be honest with you, now I've been doing this over 30 years, that I could quickly and easily change on any operating system, including Windows 10, took me a little bit of time to figure out where they even were in Windows 11. They have moved stuff around, and they've made the actual interface a little different. And there are some things that you can't even do. All right? There are some changes that you can't even do. And I'll explain that right now, because I'm going to show you the actual live Windows 11 system. Welcome to Windows 11. This is actually the Windows 11 system. It is running on a brand new Windows Surface Pro laptop, and this is what it looks like. Now, I've added some stuff, obviously, to my desktop. All right, I've added some things that I wanted, like Office, and I've also added this little tool right here, so that this allows you to see what I want you to see through my production system. So I've added some stuff to Windows 11. But other than Office and that little tiny piece of software, desktop presenter that allows me to show you what I'm doing, this is right out of the box. No other changes. Okay? Now, does it have PowerShell? And yes. Okay? Yes, it does. PowerShell ISC, Brian, it's amazing. I didn't even think to actually check that. So we'll check that in a moment. We'll take a look. Okay. Yes, it does come with PowerShell, but I didn't check to see if it has ISC. So we'll do that together. So as you can see, it's you can change the background. You can make it look the way you want. But here's the thing. We click on the actual start button. Now, as you can notice, one of the very first things that they have done is they've moved the start and the actual taskbar to the center of the screen. You have the ability, if you need to, where you can actually move it back to the left side. All right? You do have that ability. I was playing with it. You can actually put the taskbar back on the left-hand side if you want to use it there. All right? So it's just one of those things. And a lot of people out here are actually saying that it was one of the first things they did. So when you click on it, you can actually see that some of your pinned applications come right out of the gate. All right? Now, they have ways that you can do searches. You can actually search right up here, and there's also a little search box right here. So at any time, you can do a search like PowerShell, and there it is, ISE. So it's got it. So that answers that question. So there's PowerShell ISE. So you can find what you want and work on it. Now, here's the issue that you run into. Some of the stuff that we normally use and some of the ways that we normally do setups have changed a little bit. And it is a little bit more difficult to actually find some of the stuff you're looking for. But I am going to give you a cheat. All right? I am going to give you a cheat. But let's just talk about the main desktop for 1 second. Because I realized something when I was actually working on and learning about Windows 11 myself. If you notice on the right-hand side, you have the time and you have the date. Okay, it's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You can see it, time and date. One of the things that I always like to do is remove that. All right? It's just one of those things that, especially, doing presentations and doing courses, we like to actually kind of get rid of a time and date. Well, guess what? You can't. There's absolutely no way to remove it from the taskbar. Now, when I went out and started doing research about some of this stuff, okay, there are all kinds of things out there that basically say you can download some third-party utilities, all right, and they will allow you to actually go in and kind of manually unlock the taskbar so you can make some changes. But unfortunately, out of the gate, it's just not there. So there are some things that you can turn on and turn off on the taskbar, but some you can't. So one of the first things that you're probably going to want to need when you do this is going into your settings, and it's right here. And this is where we go in and start making some of the changes that we need to make. Now, when you go in, there's probably some things that you're going to want to set up. For example, maybe the network settings. Are you using, static IP addresses? Are you using DHCP? Joining it to the domain. Now remember, Windows 11 Home cannot be joined to the domain. All right. Matter of fact, Windows 11 Home, you can't even log in with a local account. You got to actually create a Microsoft account and log in using a Microsoft account. It's a requirement. But in a corporate version, we may want to actually join this to the domain. We might want to set up the IP settings. We might want to change around maybe the look, just some of the things. This is the main area where you do it. Now, the issue that I ran into in this situation is it took a little bit more time to find a lot of these things. Most of this stuff is actually there, but it just takes time. Now, yes, IPv6 is included. All right. So you can go in and you also have IPv6. And when I went in and played with the network settings, you do have the ability to actually disable a lot of the different settings. So, yeah, I mean, you do still have that. But, again, finding some of this stuff is not easy. So that's, I think, going to be the biggest learning curve for everyone out here today. It's not that we don't know how to do this. It's not that it's going to be real hard for us to figure it out. What's going to be difficult is where is what we're looking for. Okay? All right, so the first thing, you might want to actually go down, and one of the things you probably want to look at is the About page. And this will actually give you some information about what version you're running. Is it an actual legal copy, or are you running a copy that hasn't been activated yet? So as you can see here, I am running Windows 11 Pro, and it tells me the version's 21H2. Okay, it was installed only, I updated it because the box came with Home. When it upgraded to Windows 11, it obviously upgraded to Home. And then now this was actually one cool thing. This was actually kind of nice. When I went from Windows 10 Home, because the Surface Pro came with Home. Windows 11 wasn't released yet. When Windows 11 came out, I was able to upgrade to Windows 11 Home. But then there was something that was actually pretty cool. It actually had a little spot that asked me, do you want to add a license for a different version? I went in, I put in my license for Windows 11 Pro, And it did a quick update, and I was now running Pro. I didn't have to actually do any kind of reinstall. I didn't even need the actual software. It literally, once I put in the license, went out to Microsoft, downloaded what it needed, and next thing I knew, I rebooted. I was running Windows 11 Pro. So that was actually kind of nice. All right, I didn't have to worry about doing upgrades. All I had to do was put in the proper licensing. So that was actually kind of nice. All right. Now, can you downgrade the license? I don't know. All right, I honestly don't know because again, a lot of this is brand new. So if you go to product key and activation, if I actually went to product key and said change, it's asking me about a product key, but I'm not seeing anything here that actually says that I can actually go back to home. Where when I was in home, it actually told me I could go up. So honestly, I'm not sure if you can go backwards. All right. So, and that's where we're at. We're in system. All right. So we are in system. So when you go in, you can click on activation here also, and you just get to the same screen. All right. Now you also here can go into network and internet. And this is where you can go in and start setting up and managing your network settings, including going in and clicking on your advanced network settings. But as you can see, there are some really cool things here. For example, setting up data usage over the actual Wi-Fi. All right? You have the ability to actually go in and just reset all your network settings from one spot. Set up the firewall. Set up adapter options. So you could literally go in and click on this and work on your adapter options. This is the actual adapter that came in the system. So there are some kind of cool things here that you can do. All right. So this is really the point where I think most of us are going to have the hardest and the most difficult time. Because it's not that it's anything crazy, and it's not that we won't be able to learn about it. The issue is, are we going to be able to find it? And that's the big thing. So I think when all of you first decide that you want to come out here and, go into your settings and play with all your different settings, I think the first thing you're going to have to do when you come into Windows 11 is probably go through the settings. Take some time, figure it out. Now, there is a cheat. Yes, there is a cheat. You got to love the cheats because, that actually helps us kind of do things quickly where we don't look as much of an idiot when we're trying to actually set this stuff up. And the cheat is, yes, control panel is still there. So I actually put it right on my taskbar. So yes, we have the good old-fashioned control panel. So it gives you the ability to still go in and actually do some of the things that we're used to doing. Like going into the network settings and obviously just quickly and easily changing our network settings. So yes, it is still there. So, but here's the thing. All right, here's the thing. We all know Microsoft. Everybody out here is probably in IT. Okay? You're probably all in IT. And that really means that we got to learn Windows 11 probably better than just the control panel. Because as I said before, Microsoft has a way of, let's say, I don't want to make it sound bad or mean, but kind of forcing our hands. Windows 10 eventually will roll out to where they just won't support it anymore, and you're going to have to use Windows 11. Now, I see a lot of the comments about how great Windows 11 is. And for all of you who are watching this, you know I'm kind of kidding around because I can see the comments and some of the comments people are making. But unfortunately, you got to learn it. You got to understand it. Because we're going to be the ones, unfortunately, that are going to have to maintain it. And the best way to maintain it is to actually, play with it. All right? So I would highly recommend, even though the control panel is there, okay, even though the control panel is there, I would highly recommend that you actually learn how to move around the actual settings and use the actual settings. All right? Because you really are, this is going to be the way that we're probably going to have to do a lot of our maintenance and things as we go down the road with this operating system. All right. Now, a couple things that I highly recommend that you look at. And I talked about this even in the Windows 10 classes. One thing I always look at is the privacy, which did not click. Okay, there it is. The privacy. Okay, you know what? Let me, hold on a second. I'm going to probably say yes, and there is. All right, so I actually typed in MMC, and yes, the MMC console came up. All right, so yes, you can still use the MMC console. Let's take a look at the snap-ins. So here you go. So yes, there is still an MMC console. Now, for all of you that may be newer, okay, that may be a little bit newer, when you look at Windows 10, and you look at your server, all of your applications run through the same template, the same window. It's called the Microsoft Management Console. Understanding that basically allows you to actually go in and kind of create your own windows, create your own consoles. So you have the ability, because the MMC is still here, to go in and actually build your own consoles. So for example, let's say I want to put computer management on here for this machine, and device management, and disk management. And listen, we'll also, the event viewer. So now we have all four of these tools running in one window. These are actually the full running tools, just like if you went out and opened them up independently. All right? They are the full running tools. But what you can do is you can actually build your own windows. So at that point, what I would do is I would save this, and I normally will just put it on the desktop, and I'm going to call it Will's Console. And I'll save it to my desktop. And now, when I got to do my job, instead of actually going in and opening up all those different windows one at a time, I literally can just click on my console and it opens up. It'll open up for you in a second. Because it asked me for the advanced security settings, it actually takes a second for it to show up on your side. So here, I can force it. Because you're not seeing it. I can see you're not seeing it. So there we go. So when I double click on that Will's Console, my tool comes up with all of the different windows that I need to use. So this is a great thing to use. Okay, this is a great thing to use. So you have the ability to actually more or less make your own MMC consoles. Now, what about remote desktop? I see people asking about, remoting in and remote desktop. Well, believe it or not, I am remoted in right now to this Windows 11 box. If I showed you a different view, it's not going to be clean, but you'll see why we do it. This is actually my remote. I'm actually connecting to my Windows 11 box remotely. So I remote remote desktop into it so that I can change the video settings to give you a better presentation. So I am actually doing what you're asking. So yes, I am using the remote desktop connection tool. All right. You're very welcome. So I see people asking if this kind of stuff is available. Yes. Remote assistance. Yes. All that stuff is available. And I am remoted in right now. This box is actually in the other room. All right. So I'm actually just remoted into it. So you have that capability. All right. You have that capability. Now, inside your actual main screen, you get some of the most common things that we use. Edge, obviously our browser, all of our Word and Office utilities. Now, you can see I have Word and all this stuff installed. Believe it or not, before I downloaded Office 365, it did come with a version of Office. And it was a 30-day free Office version. So even before I downloaded Office 365 onto this box, all of these icons were already there. Okay? So they were already there. But again, unless you put in a legal license, it's going to be the 30-day version that you get. All right? To-do list, Messenger. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that come up here, including the store. Now, I want to talk about the store real quickly because we're talking about corporate devices. This is something that you're going to have to make a decision on because this is something that you can actually turn off on your network. Do you want your users to be able to access the Windows Store? Now, obviously, if you're a home user, you're going to use this. But if you are a corporate user, this might not be something that you actually want to have your users use it. And let me kind of explain why, because you might be wondering about why I'm actually saying this. A lot of companies, one of the things that we actually have to think about and decide is what software we're going to use on our network. And a lot of us have corporate policies that state users cannot download or use any software unless it's been approved by the IT department. Well, the problem is the Windows Store allows you to kind of go around that because there are a lot of apps in the Windows Store that are 100% free. And you can make some really cool things. The problem is somebody may download some kind of spreadsheet package, but it's not compatible with any other spreadsheet package. Maybe it's not compatible with Excel. So they download it. It looks great. They've done a lot of work on it, but they can't give it to anyone or show it to anybody because it's a proprietary package that they downloaded. You got to make these decisions. Do you want your users to be able to do this kind of stuff? Also, one other thing, just so that something for you to think about. When people download stuff from the Windows Store, let's say, for example, it's a paid package. Are they allowed to use the company credit card? If not, if they buy the package themselves and they download it to your corporate device, what happens when they leave the company? Because they bought it and downloaded it for that one device. You're not going to reimburse them, and they might not end up getting the package. you kind of run into a gray area here of what really should be done. And so, to be honest with you, I'm in the school of thought. I don't use the Windows Store for my corporate users. If I want you to have a package, we'll discuss it, we'll deploy it. You got to make that decision yourselves. All right? I can't tell you one way is right, one way is wrong. It really is up to you. Okay? There is no right or wrong here. So if you want to use the Windows Store, use it. You're not wrong. If you don't want to use the Windows Store, don't use it. Okay? It's completely up to you. So you have the ability to go in and also from here, manipulate your settings, same as what I showed. One of the things that I would highly recommend is making sure that you constantly check your Windows updates. The reason why, all right, the reason why is because, as I just showed you, they've realized that there is a bug on Windows 11 right now. And because there's a bug on Windows 11 right now, you actually need to fix that bug. So you want to make sure you constantly do your updates. Now, believe it or not, I literally checked for updates at 11 a.m. this morning. And then at 1 o'clock, it kicked off and it actually downloaded. Now it's waiting for this update to install. And I imagine that this update is going to fix a lot of our little issues that we're having with the actual certificate. So make sure that you constantly do your updates, especially when you first set this up and start playing with it. Now there's a section here also for gaming. All right, one thing that I do want to mention, because for a lot of you, this could be a big thing. Okay? This could actually be a big thing. You have the ability to go into a game mode. And by going into a game mode right here, it actually allows you to actually optimize your PC for best performance for gaming. Now, the reason that I bring this up is because, believe it or not, when I first came in and I got the box and I started setting some stuff up, there were some things that I had to do. For example, it came as Windows 11 Pro S version. I know you probably didn't pick that up because of my amazing accent, all right? But it was Windows 11 Pro S version. All right. And the S version, believe it or not, was because I'm running a Surface Pro. And because I'm running a Surface Pro, it was more or less in a tablet environment. All right? It was in a tablet environment. So the problem here, and this is something that you may run into, because the box came that way. When I installed Windows 11 Pro, I was automatically put into Windows 11 Pro S version. Now, why is this important? Because while you're in S version, I couldn't make a lot of changes. It wouldn't allow me to change a lot of my actual settings that I needed to change. So the first thing I had to figure out is, okay, how do I get out of S version? So I went out online, read Microsoft's paper. Basically, it said, go out to the App Store and download the S Mode application. I did that for Microsoft, and as soon as I actually did that, it turned my S version off. And it allowed me to then start making changes that I needed to make to the box. You may run into the same situation. if you do, that's how you fix it. All right? You actually go out to the App Store and literally just turn off the S version. All right? So, I just wanted to make sure I gave you that information. So, you have the ability to go in and personalize your setup. You know, if you want, you can change your background, colors, themes, how when people lock the screen, how it's going to work, the touch keyboard, the touch screen. All right. Now, one of the nice things, and I'm not going to have time to really get into it in this little brief webinar, but one of the things that is kind of nice with Windows 11. Windows 11 comes with a lot of improvements and advancements when it comes to touchscreen and a stylus. One of the things, and by the way, also, it came with a lot of advancements for voice-activated commands, including dictation. It came in Windows 11 where you can actually set up voice and you can literally talk and it'll type in what you're actually saying. So, also, touchscreen and stylus. So it gives you the ability to actually be maybe a little bit more productive. Because maybe you're a lousy typer. Maybe you have a tough time with spelling. By turning on the actual voice activation in Windows 11 and talking to the box. Now, listen, with everything else, it's going to have to learn your voice, and that will take a little bit of time. But once you get this feature going, you got the touch screen, you have the actual voice activation commands. Makes it kind of nice. So those are also advantages and improvements that Microsoft has actually done in the Windows 11 environment. All right. So, Windows 11 gives you a lot of new features, working with security. They are making it more secure. With every version, they always improve security because obviously in today's day and age, hacking is an issue. So you want to make sure that when you go into your privacy and you go into your security, make sure you actually go in and actually set up your privacy and your security. You can choose if you want the camera to be activated immediately or not. The microphone. Here's your voice activation stuff where you can turn on. How you want your notifications to appear. And there's a lot of things in here that you can go in and manipulate. You're basically, the best thing I can actually tell you is you're going to have to just come in here and you're going to have to just play with it. And you're going to have to learn all these things. Including going into your virus and threat protection and deciding if you want to set up and work with ransomware protection. Now, Windows 10 and Windows 11 both give you the ability to actually set up for ransomware. Not that your box can be taken over by ransomware, but you can protect against it. The two main ways that you can do this is that you can actually have your users work with OneDrive and store a lot of their important documents out on OneDrive, or you can actually go in and you can actually set up controlled folder access. Controlled folder access basically protects files and folders from being accessed by any application other than ones that you approve. Remember something. Ransomware is an application. All right? Viruses, worms, ransomware, these are applications. They get on your box, they run, and they take control of your system. they take control of files and folders. One way to protect against this is to actually use the ransomware protection to make sure it doesn't happen. So, basically, what this first look has really kind of talked about, you got to play with it. All right? You got to play with it. Now, a question's been asked about this, and is this for local files? Yes. It's for your local files and your local folders. But, just so you know, your domain controllers and your servers have the exact same option. You can go on to your servers, go to the actual security, and you can turn on controlled folder access for your servers. So if you want the best, no, it's actually available in 2016, 2019, 2022. All right? So you can go in and you can actually pick and choose which files and folders that you want to manipulate. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not exactly sure because the question's been asked, how much of this can be controlled in group policies? Well, I know that you can actually turn this on and make your settings in group policies. How much you can actually control based on which files and folders you're going to choose, that you're probably going to either have to write a script for or do it because every server is different. Every server has, like for example, you might turn it on for home folders. You might turn it on for application folders where all your apps sit. So when it comes to GPOs, you're most likely not going to be able to get that granular. You'll be able to configure it. You'll be able to turn it on. But it really is, you're probably going to have to write a script or you're going to have to go to the machines if you want to get a lot more granular. But on Windows 11, when you turn it on here, you are actually enabling it for the local Windows and the local files and folders. All right? So, the best thing that I could recommend to all of you is take time and play with it. All right? Take time and play with it. So, no, the ransomware protection is actually its own unique component on here. So, by turning this on, what it does is at that point, it then watches those systems. Defender, it literally makes sure that only the applications that you allow will be the only ones that can access those files and folders. So, is this a good thing to enable in a corporate environment? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Okay? Because that was the question that Manny just posted up. Absolutely. Okay? So, and how does Windows 11 work when you're talking about remote access? It works just as good as Windows 10. To be honest with you, most of the stuff that you're going to see in this environment is really going to replicate Windows 10. So they didn't completely rip it apart and make it like, remember when we went from Vista to Windows 7? It was like a whole new world. It's not really that way here. Most of the stuff that you know in Windows 10, that knowledge is going to be able to be used in Windows 11. The only issue that most of you are probably going to run into is at times it might be a little bit harder to find what you know how to do. Where in Windows 10, you know exactly where to go, you know exactly where to turn things on, off, make your settings. Windows 11, it's going to take a little bit of time to actually just find where that stuff is. And that's why I say you got to play with it. All right? So listen, everybody. I hope you've actually gotten a little bit out of this. Now, I'd like to talk about who we are for anyone that is brand new to Stormwinds or out on the internet watching this, we are an actual training provider where we do live classes on basically any IT product that you can think of. Everything from EC Council, Cisco, Microsoft, okay, CompTIA, project management, Jupyter, you name it, we have it. And the classes run the same way as what you're seeing here. You will literally have a live instructor teaching you this, and you'll be able to ask questions, participate, get involved. So if you are looking to actually get a really great way to be trained live, but you don't have to go to a class, we are here for you. Now, if you would like more information about who we are and what we do, we would love to have you contact us so that we can actually show you all the advantages that we have with online learning. You can contact Mike Fajan at mike.fajan@stormwindlive.com. His telephone number is 480-339-2731. And obviously there are links, and the links will be put up for you here in the chat if you would like to click on them so that you can take the next step, join us at Stormwinds, get your certification, get knowledge, and just continue to advance in your career. Listen, everybody, I would like to thank all of you for taking the time out of a probably very busy Friday to come out and hang out with me and go through Windows 11 First Look. I am Stormwind Studios instructor and Cybex author William Panic. I hope all of you have an absolutely terrific day. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing all of you in one of my classes real soon. Thanks for coming out. See you soon.